We're joined on the line by Tom Middleton in Budapest, nonetheless. Are you on tour right now? That's my question.
Well, yes, this is the beginnings of a promotional tour for the 3D Renaissance compilation, and it just sort of happened to sort of coincide with some dates anyway. So I will be playing a variety of tunes that feature on the album tomorrow in my set, and I'm really looking forward to it. Actually, this is probably the first time since the Sound of the Cosmos on Hooge that I've actually been actively promoting a mixed compilation of club music, amongst other things. Obviously, the most recent compilations I've done since that were very eclectic, kind of home listening, car listening stuff like The Trip and Crazy Covers. So this is really exciting for me. I'm back in the clubs playing the music I love. Even though I've not, even though I've been in the clubs ever since. It's only when you have a mixed compilation in the marketplace that people tend to kind of put two and two together that you're kind of an active club DJ.
So touring is completely different than the home studio production side of things and, in your own studio and whatnot. Do you find it a big different lifestyle change? It's like, oh no, we're going on tour. I got to gear myself up for this and, pay the bills months in advance and all that stuff.
Hey, that's a really interesting question. Well, yes, you do have to make a lot of preparations. Luckily I don't have any pets, and my house plants are pretty good. I can feed them for a good sort of month and a half. Top them up on water, and they tend to shed only a handful of leaves, so they're pretty healthy. So no, apart from that, and having the post redirected, it's a case of living quite kind of functionally out of a small suitcase, and having I'll tell you what I'm really good at now is travelling light and having a very, very, very clever mixture of clothes that sort of add together to either be to adapt to any climate. You need very, very specific travel garments, and also for sort of DJing in clubs. So I've kind of nailed that one.
So Renaissance 3D, new mixed album out. Very interesting. You do three different styles. You're at the club, you have your studio, and you're at home. Is this something that you got the chance to decide what you're going to do when you were asked to do a mixed album?
Well, actually, this is the format that the 3D comes in. Faithless did the previous version. So it's a lovely concept. I like the idea of a straight-up club mix, which obviously is something I haven't done for a little while. The studio disc is great because it's allowed me to put loads of collectible remixes and VIP dubs together on one album, or unmixed for DJs and collectors alike. And also the home listening CD is something that I'm a bit of a dab hand at now with the Trip compilations. And again, so much beautiful music to share. It's lovely to have another output for it.
Now, the album's out on the 28th of January here in North America, at least. I'm pretty sure that's worldwide as well. What has been the reaction so far from the promos that have gone out within the industry?
It's extraordinary. Kate, who does the PR, just said that everybody's into it, feeling it, and I think it's nice that because I've deliberately chosen to do what I want to do in terms of a club mix, it doesn't feature big hits. It doesn't feature, let's say, the top 20 or 30 most well-known artists on Beatport. It's full of really beautiful music, meticulously selected and blended, and I want it to last. I want any album that I make to be something that people can cherish and play in next year, 2 years, 3 years time. Sound of the Cosmos still sounds good. People keep emailing me and sending messages on MySpace and saying, when are you going to do the next installment? We love it. It's my favourite compilation. So clearly, the time that I take in researching, auditioning, selecting, and mixing these compilations is paying off, and they're becoming very collectible and have good shelf life and longevity. And I think that's really important for a mixed compilation, rather than having just this year's big hits, which, to be honest, will be old hat and boring when you listen to them next year. I'd rather have slightly subtler, more underground music that still sounds fresh in 4 or 5 years' time.
Now, you started back in the early 90s. Is there a set back there, either a live set or, a compilation or just something that you did back then that you still every once in a while go, you know what, I got to break that out and listen to it because I haven't heard it in a couple months?
Well, obviously the previous productions, there's Global Communication, Jedi Knights, and Reload. I still listen to those, and they're still sounding pretty good to me. Global Communication 7614 album particularly, and obviously that was well over 10 years now. So if that's still sounding good, it's a good sign.
Is there a track or a release that you did that you just kind of sit back and go, how did that ever make it to the markets? I don't know why.
I'm trying to think if there's anything that I've produced that... to be honest, no. I mean, everything that was released released for a reason and a purpose, and had validity in whatever genre or field. I mean, considering the fact that I've produced everything from drum and bass to electro to down tempo, techno, and house, and pretty much every other break beats, pretty much everything in between. So I think everything that I've released, I've been sort of happy with.
Now, you signed with Big Chill back in '94. You've been doing work with them ever since. Have they sort of become kind of like family to you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a wonderful environment which to share this slightly subtler music, beautiful music. And they've been great. They supported me for a long time and helped, particularly in putting together projects such as the performance I did with a 40-piece choir, playing at the festival in Eastnell Castle with a 20-piece band, including a 19-strong string ensemble live on stage. So yeah, everything that I've done with them has been really interesting. And last year I played with my band, and we synchronized the performances to visuals and performed in a cinema. So it's been really, really exciting doing this live show and developing that and taking that to another level. Obviously wouldn't be possible without the Big Chill's vision.
Well, from what I read, your father was very interested and involved in the classical side of things, and you have a classical background. Something like that, where you're doing work with a big orchestra, did you, give him a call up and say, "Hey, Pops, we're doing this. You should come down and check it out." And he's at your gigs.
Well, he's tucked up down in the deep south of Cornwall and doesn't really get out that often. But no, he obviously follows my career with pride and interest, and is always excited when I tell him what projects are happening next.
The latest personal CD of yours, Life Tracks, came out back in September. What are you getting out of that in the sense of promotion and feedback? And is there something new in the sense coming out from you for your own personal projects? Yeah,
Life Tracks has been a real personal milestone for me. It is kind of the basics of that track, that whole album, has sort of been growing over 9 years in the background to other projects, remixes, DJing, festivals, etc. And to finally be able to compile it all together and put it out has been a wonderful sense of release, really, quite cathartic in a way. So now that's done, it's on with some new, fresh projects, and it all does feel a bit like carte blanche. I can do whatever I want. I don't feel like I necessarily have to make music to satisfy any market needs. It's just a case of exploring and creating and enjoying making music. It doesn't have to be dance music. It can be listening music. It can be experimental. That's the beauty of it.
You do a lot of work, though, with film and TV and commercial music as well. Is that true? Is that something that, helps supplement the income to keep you going with what you're doing? As digital sales online are still pretty young at this stage, and, vinyl sales are pretty much out the window nowadays.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I mean, I think most producers have to kind of reassess how they earn at this point in their careers, because, let's face it, unless you've got a very high profile to actually make any kind of impact, you either need to have a loyal kind of fan base that you've built up through social networking, or you have to, to basically start a little industry yourself and to sort of sell product online. So, everyone has to come up with new ways to utilise this. So, obviously, one of the things that I've been interested in a while is sort of developing the visual side of things and actually collaborating with writers and composers for soundtrack, film and TV, that kind of thing. And it's starting to happen now. I've done a couple of projects, and I'm kind of pitching left, right and centre for other things. I think you just have to keep persevering and have the stamina, and eventually there comes a point where people go, oh, that's nice. For example, with Life Tracks, 2 of the tracks have appeared on CSI, a couple of episodes of that, and the sort of travel shows and science and documentary kind of stuff. The music kind of suits that, really. So I guess that's really the direction that I'm exploring at the moment, that actually produces any kind of sizable revenue.
I actually heard the ones on CSI. That clicked into my mind. I knew I recognized it from somewhere, and it was yours. Is there someone or that you would like to work with, whether it's in production, or is there something you would like to work on? You mentioned you've been on CSI. Would you, like to do a movie and do the film score for like Steven Spielberg or something along those lines?
Oh, very much. I think it's every electronic producer's dream to sort of transgress the sort of music industry and break into film. And I think it's a case of just biding one's time and trying to just keep pushing and promoting. And I think as long as you come at it from the right angle, and at the end of the day, the music should speak for itself. Eventually, it's all going to kind of click into place. I mean, I get great support on the radio in stateside, and globally there's a nice kind of buzz in the right areas with this with the Life Tracks album, and obviously I hope the same thing goes for the 3D project as well. So for me, it's really a case of just keep on doing it. I mean, I've been working now for 20 years in music, and I don't have any desire to stop right at this moment. I'm still as excited and passionate as ever.
You have a bunch of events coming up in the next little while, so where are you off to, and will we be seeing you in Miami this year?
Well, here's the thing. I've got kind of offers to play in Miami at the Opium Gardens on the Saturday night, the 29th, and then a little mini tour of the States after that. But equally, I've got the possibility of doing an Asian leg of a tour, which starts in March in Australia, then goes to New Zealand. So I've got to work out the best route, because it's possible I might have to kind of zip back from Singapore to England, then directly over to Miami. So we'll see what happens. It's all looking a bit crazy at the moment, March and April. But check out myspace.com, Tom Middleton, and you'll also be able to find out where I am in the world.
With that note, we'll finish things up here, and we'll leave you on for your afternoon or evening, and we wish you the best of luck and safe journeys there in Budapest.
Thank you so much for speaking with me. Yes, this is Tom Middleton, the Jedi. You're listening to DJ Amps live on Amplified Radio. This is Tom Middleton, and you're listening to brand new material from myself live on Amplified Radio. This is Deep Chill with DJ Amps on CFRU. My name's Tom Middleton. Keep it chilled.